On the Heritage Channel tonight, we uncover the fascinating history of the mysterious Kasbah, a once thriving hub for the Grimsby fishing industry. We explore the brand new St James Square in Grimsby and find out how our region has played an important role in preserving the heritage of traditional English folk music. Welcome to the Heritage Channel on Clee TV, where we explore the fascinating history of North East Lincolnshire in a monthly roundup of news, views and other stories. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button below, or on Facebook, join the group to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes. Heritage Lincolnshire activities for October include guided tours around the Old King's Head at Curtain, lovingly restored over the past 5 years. A rare example of the Fenland artisan mannerist style, this ancient coaching inn stands on the old road from London to Boston, once a hub for those who traded, travelled and warred by sea. Tickets for the next tour on the 31st of October from the Heritage Lincolnshire website. Also at the King's Head on the 26th of October, you can learn the art of leatherwork in a practical workshop that explores this ancient craft. And Flying for the Empire tells the story of the RAF crews from Africa and the West Indies who volunteered their services during the Second World War. You can join Bob Massey on the 26th of September for this fascinating online talk. The fishing heritage of our coastal community is embodied in the myths, legends and fascinating history of Grimsby fish stocks. We joined archivist Gary Crossland and Action Zone project manager Stella Jackson for a tour of the mysterious Kasbah.
Before we start our tour around the fish dock, we're here outside the port office, which to most people they refer to as the dock offices. Grimsby as a port, there's references back to 1165.
Oh, really?
Yes,
oh,
when
wow.
Henry II granted permission for the city of Lincoln to raise tolls against men from Norway who used Grimsby as a trading centre. The port, prior to 1796, when the Grimsby Haven Act was passed, was run by the corporation. Trade had declined, so it was in a very, very poor state. Just prior to 1796, a group of landowners got together and they decided that they would try and do something. And the Act, the 1796 Act, gave them the permission and also formed the Grimsby Haven Company. Now that continued right up to the coming of the railways, which was in the 1850s. It was then that there was substantial capital investment.
Okay.
Right?
So it's the railways that
got it
all started.
That's right. And we can see in front of us that there's a commemorative statue of Prince Albert.
Yep.
Now, Prince Albert came in 1849 to lay the foundation stone. So when Prince Albert came, he laid the foundation stone, and that was the start of the huge investment in Grimsby. We're now at the end of Warncliffe Road. This part is really the oldest part of the fish dock,
Right.
because Warncliffe Road faced the fish market. Vessels used to come in through the lock and they used to berth at a pontoon which was T-shaped. But all this area is the sort of crux of the fishing industry within Grimsby. And when you look down Warncliffe Road, you can see the original rail lines, because when they demolished the T-shaped pontoon, they built a wharf that extended from where we're standing now in the direction of the dock tower.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
there are photographs that show that there were 3 lines of wagons next to each other. And when they were taking the fish from the market, from the wharf, they put it on barrows and on a planks of wood from one rail wagon to another rail wagon to another rail wagon going across.
And that was the Barrow Boys.
There's a very good photograph of the West Market. It shows that there was a one-way system. Empty barrows would come down the ramps one way and go up, and full barrows would go like that. The Barrow Boys, that's where you started on the Fishdock.
Right.
That was sort of...
So that was your first job.
That's right. A few years ago, when I was doing some research, I spoke to Martin Boyers of the fish market, and he said at that particular time, roughly £1 million worth of fish was sold over the market here per week.
Wow.
So that's £52 million of revenue that goes through that market in a year.
Wow. Building 89, as it's now known, which was Fred's Fish until recently, that building was constructed by Arthur and Robert Osborne, trawler owners, in around about 1856. And you may have heard of this person. Albert Osborne was related to Arthur and Robert, who built the building. He was a soldier turned spy working for the Soviet Union, and it was Albert Osborne who, in November 1963, made the call to the Cambridge News to alert them to a potential story in America, which was the shooting of JFK. It could be that that phone call was made from Building 89. No evidence at all, but it might have happened.
Now we're down Henderson Street. This is a really good example of the types of buildings that were constructed and how the construction took place. There were individual buildings that were being constructed one after the other, and we can see by the joins of them. And I think another interesting point is the building that's in front of us.
Yes.
In as much as that it's in two halves, but rather than being two buildings together, they're sort of back to back.
Oh,
it's a back to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you look in the corner, you can see the fireplaces. So I was wondering, because the front of the building faced the fish market, perhaps the people who had that built were more affluent than those that constructed it in Henderson Street, because of course it's at the back of the original building and seems completely divorced from that. Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean that could be true, because the front of the building would have been earlier anyway.
Yes.
Warncliffe Road was the first bit to be built, wasn't it? If you were a fish merchant up here, you'd want to be right next to the fish market, wouldn't you?
That's right.
You'd want to be on Warncliffe Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you can't afford that, you'd have to then look at places like
next best thing.
That's right,
Yeah.
Henderson Street. It's the area that some people refer to as the Kasbah, other people refer to it as the square. Now, I've known it since the mid-1970s as the Kasbah. It's an area that has 4 streets. Apparently, it was like an enclosed area, something like an Arabian Kasbah, or at least that's how some people saw it. In the 1970s, all the buildings in the middle had been demolished and the area became a car park. As you can see, when you look round here, some of the buildings are in use, some of them need renovation. One of the buildings that's been renovated at this particular time is the Peterson building, which is to my left.
We've got some funding from National Lottery Heritage Fund and Architectural Heritage Fund as well. The listed smokehouse is going to be repaired and hopefully brought back into use as a smokehouse. We've got a number of smokers who are interested in taking it on. Actually, there's a building opposite as well that forms part of the project, and that's going to be repaired and brought back into use for offices. So it's quite an exciting time actually, because we should be up here with builders in kind of 4 or 5 months' time, hopefully.
Now we're on Fishdock Road, which was the main arterial route down to the fish market.
Yep. So like the main high street, really.
That's right,
Yeah.
it was. You know, people coming down to the fish docks had to travel down Fishdock Road. And it's nice to be in the doorway of an old established building, Tom Taylor. And the building itself is now Grade 2 listed, so that's nice. It adds to the history of the port and retains the history. Now, and you may have noticed as we walked along Fishdock Road, there's various premises that's named after boys. But there's Paul and there's Timothy along here.
Yep.
And they are three of the sons of Terry Chapman.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And then he had another son, Kevin.
Yeah.
So those four were used to name the premises that he was occupying and his sons occupied here.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. And that's not so long ago, you know, within the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
You know.
And Terry Chapman, of course, he's TC's pub on the corner.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
So we've got TC's pub. That was quite a place where, you know, people could come and they could, you know, have parties and there was an entertainment area above as well as the pub below where the fish merchants used to frequent during the lunch times and downtown.
Wow.
So yes.
So this building has been taken on by Creative Start, a community interest company. One of the first new tenants up here in a while, and with the aim of repairing this historic building and reusing it as their headquarters. So Creative Start work with people in recovery. It's been so successful here, it's fabulous, and in fact they're running out of space for all of the things that they're making, so they're looking at maybe expanding into another building because they need the storage space. So just opposite Creative Start is Alfred Enderby Smokehouse, who smoke in traditional Grimsby smoked fish using the traditional method that can only be used here. They supply smoked salmon, smoked haddock all over the world, largely in the UK to chefs such as Marco Pierre White, but also to local people as well. So you can get fish delivered. The smokehouse itself is one of the oldest here on the Kasbah. It's a Grade 2 listed building, one of 7 listed smokehouses, and continuing to flourish. It is exciting. It's been a couple of years of planning and organising and getting everything in place, but over the next 12 to 18 months there should be quite a lot happening up here actually. So next year should be a really exciting Heritage Open Days.
Visitors to Cleethorpes looking for a friendly pub with good food will find the Punch Bowl just a short stroll along the North Promenade from the famous pier. Overlooking the beach and Humber Estuary, this friendly local has been owned and run by Sheila Stafford and her family for the last 33 years. The Punch Bowl is a firm favourite with local people who enjoy the friendly atmosphere and great value food.
It's got a very good selection of food, there's plenty to choose from and it's all very tasty.
And I've always come and I've always come back and I've always enjoyed the experience of it.
Everyone's real friendly, all the staff know my name and what have you, and I just sort of enjoy the time I spend here.
Upstairs from the busy pub is Laces, a grand function room with separate bar and stage.
On a wedding, of course, we do a full 4-course meal, or we can do buffets.
Holding up to 150 people, it's a popular venue for weddings and birthdays and a favourite of local musicians.
Oh yeah, we are looking forward to welcoming people back into Laces and into the Punch Bowl.
Whether you're looking for good value food and drink in a friendly local pub or a grand venue for that special occasion, the Punch Bowl and Laces has it all. As work on the regeneration of St James Square in Grimsby nears completion, we joined Paula Denton from Our Big Picture to find out more about the improvements made and what some of the locals thought. cannot bend beside his grave, for he sleeps in a secret sea, and not one gentle whispering wave will tell the place to
We
me.
were commissioned to work on community engagement, so really look at engaging with the community about what they want to see here, but also what the content of it was, and also then commissioning artists as well to produce public artworks. So Adrian Riley, we worked with different groups, so heritage groups and creative writers, young people. So he took that interpretation and engagement and research and then translated it into a solid path, which is engraved. So the engraving tells the story.
Come follow me. Come follow me.
So what we wanted to do is have a statement so it gives you a direction to go in. And the phrase we wanted to keep in as big as possible really is the come follow me. Now, biblically, that's what Jesus said to St. James, and we're stood in St. James Square. But it's also a great invitation to go on the path.
Come follow me.
Come follow me. Ready, steady, go. The choristers' pancake race starts here.
We picked up different stories that have been maybe forgotten or people remember from their past, and one of them was the Ready Steady Go. It's the choristers' pancake race. So every year they used to hold a choristers' pancake race around the square. So we've given them a starting line and we've also given them a finishing line at the other end.
"300 butts of blubber, 1 bear, 3 walrus."
Adrian meticulously picked out different keywords of a manifesto of the docks, so what's come through the docks, over the many, many years it's been here.
Brown plantation sugar, biomass, bay salt.
So as we move along, there's some interesting points around sounds as well, because the artist Adrian Riley is very into recording sounds as well. And so we've got a point here where we've got Denmark is 528 miles as the raven flies, and then the actual raven call.
Denmark, 528 miles as the raven flies.
Now the raven's interesting because that's Odin's symbol, and Odin is supposed to be connected to Grim as well. It's supposed to be that Grim story, and Odin is very close apparently.
Once there ruled a great and virtuous king of England, Athwolk, who died.
So we've now got to the labyrinth, and through consultation with the Minster and the public, it was felt that a labyrinth or a maze would be a really interesting idea to put in here. They went down the labyrinth route because it has more of that spiritual connection, and also with a labyrinth you can't get lost, you can't meet a dead end, and in a maze you will meet a dead end, and it's more of a puzzle, where a labyrinth is a process of meditation.
The people chat, the pubs are opening. There's a real atmosphere here.
So we've moved a bit further down, but throughout the whole path there are different localisms that you can spot, and Ocha is one of them. So it's like, hey you, Ocha, come here type thing. We've got quite a few sort of childhood memories and things within the path as well, and one of them is got any goodies, and Goodies was a shop, and so you used to go to the Goodies for your sweets, and I still call Goodies for my children, and it's like they know what goodies are. So it's one of those lovely localisms that have kept down generations. So we've tried to make it a very fun path as well. So there's a hopscotch that's laid out with the stones, and it goes from 1 to 8, but it actually picks up on different key dates within Grimsby's history.
2.
1201. Grimsby receives a royal charter.
3.
1193. The first record of Grimsby as a surname.
4.
1464. You cannot be arrested in a churchyard, a local bylaw.
So now we've come to the end of the path, and at the end of the path there's a real nice collection of words, single words that are about the heritage and history of the Minster itself, from it being used to store fire engines to it being bombed and so on. So it's quite an interesting little section, and we're here now at the 12th century Minster as well, which like I say, it's been here over 900 years, and is still a working church.
The dawning light is breaking now as she wakes to find him gone.
It's absolutely amazing what they've done to it. It's friendly, family friendly, everyone's having fun. having a great time. It's brilliant.
I think it does look lovely, and especially in the sun, it looks very nice.
It's a bit more open, it's a bit flatter. It's also, I've taken some pictures, they've got some writing on some paving slabs over there. I like that.
I think it's a lovely space. It's really nice, and I like to be able to walk through and see what's written on in the paving flags.
I think it gives the platform for people like ourselves, who are producers and artists, to really rethink about spaces and how we use them and how we can engage, fantastic communities. We don't have much cultural infrastructure locally. We've been one of those forgotten towns, and that is changing. That's slowly changing, but it will take some years to come through. But this is now here. Fantastic space to start using, even if you just want to come down and play in the labyrinth and have a picnic and stop off and go into town. And I think it sort of really starts to reshape what we use our high streets for as well. Really looking forward to actually being able to put our programme in place. Yeah, and also because we work in the Minster and also at the market as well, and other places in the town centre, it'd be great to start connecting those up and having somewhere that has a regular programme, yeah.
The waves, they crash on Molly's bow. The wind howls.
The new Heritage Starter Fund is now open, and the panel are currently considering the first applications. The fund provides the opportunity for community organisations to submit imaginative projects that explore their local heritage with support from the National Lottery. You can apply now at Heritage Lincolnshire. Creative Starts are inviting local artists to get involved in their Paint the Town Proud project, which will see a series of murals that celebrate the heritage and culture of this seafaring town. The beautiful green spaces in our coastal community provide a welcome oasis of calm and tranquility, away from the hustle and bustle of the busy town. I went to meet one young man who has been helping people appreciate the diversity of our natural heritage in Wheelsby Woods. The wood provides a home for a wide variety of mature trees, fauna and flora, and an abundance of wildlife, including small mammals, foxes and birds. This is Xanathoria ukrainica, or orange wall lichen. It sometimes comes in purple patches as well as the bright yellow you can see here. Now, I only know this due to a new app developed by Sean Curtis from Longstrip Wildlife. Visitors can make the most of this unique habitat using a simple app that can be downloaded onto a smartphone or tablet. You simply locate the specimen of tree, plant or animal life to find out all about it.
So what you would do, you'd come into an area such as the woodlands here, which has been developed, and we can search through all the different species, whether it's wildlife, it might be plants, it might be fungus. And you can just see the database that we have collected. It gives you like a general appearance. There's also a little picture that goes with each one, so you can match
the picture. Yeah,
absolutely. Because some species do start to cross over and look quite similar.
And that covers sort of all the stuff in the woods, from the ferns and the mosses to the big trees and everything else.
Absolutely, yeah, and also animals. So it'll tell you about different migration cycles. So there's certain animals that may fly in for the winter or for the summer exclusively.
Yeah, so it makes a completely new experience for people who come to these woods here that have been here now for years, and people walk their dogs here and enjoy it, and they can now find out a lot more about it as a result of the app. Sean is continuing to populate the Wheelsby Wood app with new species and has plans to extend the coverage to other local green spaces. North East Lincolnshire has played an important role in preserving the heritage of traditional English folk music.
Well, the Folk Festival in Cleethorpes started in 1964 by the members of Grimsby Folk Song Club, which was mainly the Broadside Band. It was always put on the May Spring Bank Holiday weekend, so it was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It started its life on the pier. It moved to the Winter Gardens and other venues in the town because the Winter Gardens had 3-4 rooms that could be used.
You can meet people there that they've got a wealth of knowledge, and that was as well really helpful for me because that got me interested in researching the history of folk music in Lincolnshire.
And then the dance side of it was huge because all the dance teams up and down the country wanted to come to Cleethorpes. So it was entertainment along the prom every afternoon.
Local artists are creating music that continues this tradition, with music reflecting our seafaring heritage and the brave men and women of our coastal community.
The dawning light is breaking now as she wakes to find him gone, and hears the tolling of the bell and the swirling seagull's song.
Well, that's almost all for tonight's programme. If you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to join our group, or on YouTube, click the subscribe button below to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes. If you have a heritage story you would like to share, contact our news desk, heritage@clee.tv. We hope you enjoyed tonight's programme and look forward to seeing you next month for more people, places and heritage news.
This day, it ebbs and flows as the bell it tolls, and the sailor's time must bide. But those in need and take no heed must face the hungry tide. The Molly G, she rides the surf onto the ocean swell, her crimson sail lost in the fret and the howling gale from hell. The waves they crash on Molly's bow, the wind howls in the rigging as he trims the sail and sets a course to seek the shoals of herring. For 5 days she waits for him, and 5 days more to see. The boats come in to land their catch, but not the Molly G. She fears the sea fret rising, the crimson sail to hide. She listens for the bell to ring at the turning of the